CTV News at 5 with Hudson Mack.
Canada's police community is in mourning tonight, and there is an outpouring of condolences across the country after Surrey RCMP lost one of their own. A 28-year-old constable, Adrian Oliver, killed this morning when his cruiser collided with a transport truck. RCMP say Oliver was driving an unmarked cruiser at about 5 o'clock this morning when he was hit broadside by the truck. The driver's side of the police vehicle was crushed. Investigators were at the scene for hours trying to determine who had the right-of-way at the time of the crash. Colleagues say Constable Oliver came from a family with a long history in the RCMP.
I spoke to Constable Oliver's father this morning as he and other members of the family were preparing to travel to British Columbia. My heart goes out to all of them. Clearly, a tragic day for the Oliver family and for the entire RCMP.
As the officer in charge, I would like to express my sincere condolences to his family, friends, and his co-workers during this very difficult and very sad time.
Investigators say Oliver's cruiser was almost unrecognizable. Paramedics were able to pull him from the wreckage, but the officer could not be saved. A 28-year-old Souk man escaped with his life after a spectacular crash in Victoria early Sunday. Vic PD was called to the area of Cedar Hill Road and Hillside after several witnesses called 911 reporting a heavily damaged vehicle at the side of the road. When the officers got there, the driver was nowhere to be found. But about an hour later, investigators got a call from paramedics that they had been called to treat a man with head injuries. Officers determined the injured man was the registered owner and driver. Vic PD has not recommended charges at this point. A senior is recovering tonight after being hit by a BC Transit bus in downtown Victoria. It happened at the corner of Humboldt and Blanchard Streets this afternoon. BC Transit says the 60-year-old pedestrian suffered bumps and bruises to his hip and was taken to the hospital as a precaution. The driver of the bus has been behind the wheel for over 10 years and said to have an unblemished record. Vic PD says it is too early to say if any violation tickets will be issued. A Victoria couple has been charged with animal cruelty after a dog was found wandering on Pryor Street near death. The 10-year-old black and white Shih Tzu named Tiny was turned over to the Victoria SPCA in the summer. Tiny was badly dehydrated with failing organs and open wounds and was infested with maggots. Despite 3 months of around-the-clock care, Tiny was too sick to fully recover and finally had to be euthanized. Douglas and Enza Pattison are now facing charges of animal cruelty. If convicted, they could face 5 years in jail, a $75,000 fine, and a ban on owning animals. BC's Conflict of Interest Commissioner is stepping back from the investigation involving Premier Christy Clark and BC Rail, saying that his opinion may appear to be biased. Paul Fraser says he is removing himself from looking into the conflict allegations made against Clark because his son is an assistant deputy minister in the BC government, and the son is a personal friend of the Premier's. MLA John Van Dongen originally requested that Fraser pull out. It was Van Dongen who called for an investigation to determine if Clark was in a conflict of interest 9 years ago when the Liberal government of the day sold the Crown-owned BC Rail. Fraser has now asked the Conflict Commissioner for the Northwest Territories to take over the investigation. A Saanich man's been sentenced to 6 months in jail after he pushed a Victoria senior to the ground and took her purse, robbing her of $4,700. Police say Gordon James Hunter spent $1,000 from it before they caught him. Police returned the remainder to the victim. With credit for his time served, Hunter will be out in 23 days. He's also been ordered to pay back the $1,000 that he spent. And this from the courts in Cleveland, Ohio tonight, where a woman has been warning people about idiots. She was ordered to stand at an intersection for an hour today and for another hour tomorrow, holding a sign that reads, "Only an idiot would drive on the sidewalk to avoid a school bus." Because that's exactly what she did to earn this highly public sentence, driving around the school bus on the sidewalk so she wouldn't have to stop for it. Her license has been suspended 30 days, and she has been ordered to pay court costs of about $250. Vancouver Island municipalities, like others across the country, are calling on the federal government to fork over billions of dollars annually to help pay for aging, crumbling infrastructure. The Federation of Canadian Municipalities says provinces and cities need help and need it now to rebuild aging roads, bridges, sewers, and water treatment plants. A report from the Federation says Ottawa should pitch in another $2.5 billion to a total of $6 billion annually. The money would then be matched by provinces and cities. The Federation says the plan will help to stimulate the economy and create jobs.
The right plan that keeps Canada on the road to creating jobs, to a growing and secure future, is one that invests in our cities and communities. The wrong one will allow our country to fall behind in a tough global economy with aging infrastructure that in some cases is on the verge of collapse.
The Federation is also calling for a 20-year plan from Ottawa to give cities financial assurance to improve infrastructure that was built a half a century ago. And if you live in Victoria, get ready to pay more for your water and sewer services. The city says because people in Victoria have been conserving and using less water in recent years, usage revenue is down. So that means you're going to pay more as the city embarks on a 30-year project to upgrade the aging water infrastructure. On Thursday, Council will vote on a staff recommendation that will see sewer rates jump by 10% and your water rates in Victoria rise by 8% next year. Traffic will soon begin flowing across the new Port Mann Bridge. It's taken more than 4 years, but finally 8 of its lanes are near completion. And starting on the 1st of next month, 4 lanes will be open each way between Coquitlam and Surrey. Vehicles will be charged a $1.50 toll starting December 8th. That is expected to double by December of next year. The federal government is investing nearly $500,000 in projects on Vancouver Island. The money will help the Saskatchewan First Nation establish tourism infrastructure on Keith Island and will support a new marina in Port Alice. Some of it will also be spent in Cowichan Bay to complete the Cowichan Bay Marine Gateway project.
Well, each one of these communities is going to derive some economic opportunity from the funds that are announced today. For the Taschat, opening up economic and tourism opportunities in the Broken Group with Keith Island. That's an island that's tremendously important to their community, both culturally and historically. And when people visit, kayakers, boaters in the Broken Group, they'll have an opportunity to visit the island, appreciate the Taschat history. It goes back thousands of years in the area. And it's very important to them as a new and emerging economic opportunity.
Cultural ecotourism is it's been growing the last 10 years, and we want to have that embark. The big step for us is this is probably the biggest step for us in entering the cultural ecotourism.
The funding is part of the West Coast Community Adjustment Program, which provides funding to coastal communities facing economic challenge. A citizens group that's opposed to the installation of BC Hydro smart meters says it's been left in the dark by the courts. The BC Court of Appeal will not hear an appeal by the Citizens for Safe Technology group. That group had argued that the installation of the meters was not properly handled through the BC Utilities Commission. The group is concerned that the meters cause a variety of health issues. The Utilities Commission twice rejected the group's argument, and the appeal court was the group's last hope.